I was following this story about Harry Alford, who is the president and CEO of something called the National Black Chamber of Commerce, and he's a 2008 Obama supporter. And it struck me as interesting because you don't see much in the way of dissent on the left when it comes to African-American support for Obama. I mean, here and there's some issues, but not much, right? I mean, there have been a lot of people on the anti-war left who've been upset with Obama on things like Afghanistan and Iraq and Libya. And then, of course, there have been people who think we should have gone for universal health care instead of the Obamacare, and they were kind of mad on the left. But African Americans have hung pretty tight with the president, and I think that's for a variety of reasons. We've discussed this on the show before. But now there's an interesting issue brewing among business owners, and we thought we'd bring on Harry Alford from the National Black Chamber of Commerce to tell us what's going on, and he joins us now. Hey, Mr. Alford, how are you?
Fine, Laura. How are you?
Good. Are you on a speakerphone? When you're on a show where millions of people are listening to you, don't put me on a speakerphone. It's a sign of great disrespect.
Oh,
I know
I'm
you didn't
sorry.
mean that.
I
I know you
didn't
didn't.
disrespect.
No, I know you didn't mean that. But I'm just like, if my producers did that, they would, be walking out the door right now. So, listen, Harry, I'm interested in what's going on here because I know there are two competing organizations out there. What has happened, and why is this relevant to the current business conversation in the country?
Well, Obama wanted the National Black Chamber to dance to his music and have blind allegiance to his crazy programs and agenda, which are totally anti-business. We are a pro-business organization, so we have to stand on the side of business and for the benefit of our members, which are entrepreneurs, black entrepreneurs. So he decided that he was going to show the National Black Chamber something. He was going to form his own Chamber of Commerce, and it was formed in the White House, believe it or not. And they've got these, I don't know what they are, they're not business people, saying they're a Chamber of Commerce. So we're suing that so-called chamber in federal court now for trademark infringement. But it was items like the gainful employment rule, which we are fighting. He wants to take away financial aid for students in for-profit schools or career colleges. He wants to take it away because he says their income will be too low to pay off the college tuition, which is a lie. They'll pay it off. And this is their chance to leave poverty and to get into the workforce. And we need an educated workforce. Our businesses are growing. We're the fastest growing segment of small businesses. When Kay and I started the National Black Chamber of Commerce in 1993, there were 300,000 black-owned businesses. Today, there's 1.9 million black-owned businesses. We're growing at 60% every 5 years. So we need an educated workforce to meet the demand of employees and the growth of those businesses. So he says, I'm going to destroy you. And in the White House, our White House, the people's White House, they have conspired to destroy the National Black Chamber of Commerce. It won't work. We have loyal members, we have a mission, and we bring in billions of dollars into the African-American community. But for that, I'm going to have to go to war with them.
Well, again, I think people around the country who are hearing this, they're trying to figure out why this is. And I have a theory. And you and I disagree, by the way, on a lot of issues. And if we have time, we'll get into those. But on this issue, I find it fascinating. I come at it from a free market perspective. Okay, I look at the landscape of this country right now. I see we've spent $1 trillion on a stimulus. I see we've spent $1.2 trillion initially on the down payment on Obamacare. I see $14 trillion in debt. I see China on the rise and India on the rise, and America 70% believing we're on the wrong track. The way that African Americans and all Americans are going to have a better life is if we grow the gross domestic product of this country and become more productive. In my mind, the core moves that this administration has made has been anti-business. Do you disagree?
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. He is anti-business, and and my wife tells me not to say this, but it's starting to look Marxist to me.
Marxist? You voted for him.
The worst mistake I ever made in my life.
Why did you vote for him?
Because he was black. Because he was black, and that is a lesson that I will take to my grave.
So you felt compelled to vote for him, and that's an honest answer, which I appreciate.
It was hope. It was hope. But, hope isn't hiring. Hope isn't lowering the price of gasoline. This kind of hope is he wants, and he said it to the San Francisco Chronicle. You can look this up. He wanted the price of gasoline to go to $6 to $7 a gallon so that we can reduce our carbon footprint. He said this, and he's doing it. It's $5 a gallon right now in D.C. and still rising about a nickel every 3 or 4 days. It's crazy, and he's smiling.
Well, what do you think about his?
Dangerous. Huh?
Well, what do you think about his statement the other day after Donald Trump and all that birth certificate thing? And he said, "Look, it's time to get serious, and we have to leave these sideshows behind." And then he hopped off to be with Oprah, and then went off to the fundraisers.
Yeah, his serious is dangerous. I love this country too much to be quiet about this guy. He is wrecking us at a time that we need to be strong. He is dangerous, and I'm going to do all I can to get the black community 1 to 2 to 3 million votes to go to whoever runs against him.
Do you like Donald Trump?
He's a businessman. I think he's a little shaky on a few things, but he's tough. He knows business, and we're pro-business.
Mm-hmm. Did you think that President Obama's experience when during the campaign, he obviously had never run anything, he'd never made a payroll, he'd never done any of the things that all of your members have done. Did that worry you at all at the time? I mean, any of that lack of experience, criticism, that didn't resonate at all?
Oh, yeah, but we were always finding ways. Well, he'll get good people. He'll get great people. Well, he didn't get great people. It's Arnie Duncan, Secretary of Education. He wrecked the Chicago school system. They're still picking up the pieces in Chicago, and he makes him Secretary of Education. He's in way over his head, and it's showing with this gainful employment rule.
Jeb Bush thinks Arnie Duncan is pretty great, I think. A lot of Republicans like Arnie Duncan.
Jeb Bush on that one. And I sit on the board of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and I listen and talk to CEOs, and everybody thinks this guy is in over his head.
Well, guess who said that in the campaign? I mean, in 2007, when I saw Obama on the rise, my first comment, I think almost the first comment I made is, who is he? What has he ever done? I mean, he might be the nicest guy ever and might be kind of cool to hang out with and might be good at something else. He might be great at some other type of job, but you can't go in to running the biggest economy and the biggest military in the world and have no experience, except sitting in Reverend Wright's church and hanging out on the community organizing stuff. I mean, that just doesn't cut it.
He's a neophyte, and he is supposed to be the leader of the free world. We are in trouble. When Sarkozy, when the Prime Minister, President of France, becomes the leader of the free world over the United States President, we are in big trouble.
Why do you think African Americans still overwhelmingly support this president? And is it just skin color?
That is waning. I used to talk about him, and people would boo me or criticize me. Now they're all nodding their heads. It is waning. I think he will not get 35% of the black vote next time around. He will not, and that's going to kill him.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that would be stunning. No, but that would be stunning if he didn't get at least 70% of the black vote. People
are hurting. I mean, the mortgage modification program has a success rate of 7%. African Americans lost 35% of their net worth in this subprime scandal, and he doesn't care.
But you're a Democrat, though, right?
No, I'm a registered independent. I voted for George Bush both times.
Oh, okay. But I'm looking at the background I have on you. You said that Clarence Thomas was a self-hating black? Did you say that at one point?
Yeah, I think he's got some problems. I do.
You know what I want. You know what I want to do, because after talking to you just for a few minutes, I think you have your head screwed on straight. I think you have a really interesting perspective. I'd like you to meet Clarence Thomas. I work for him. He's one of my closest friends. I adore him. He's just one of these people who would walk across glass for his friends, and is brilliant, and is a patriot, and pulled himself up out of a really difficult situation as a kid with the help of his grandfather. And I'm telling you, you and he sound a lot alike on these issues. So
Set up the meeting, Laura. I'm judging from afar. I'd love to meet him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think I don't know. I like what I'm hearing from you. And look, he's not a political person. He's a justice, but I just think the independent streak and believing in individual initiative and not government handouts. And I mean, the worst thing to do is make black people or white people or Latino people dependent on a government handout.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've seen what they've done to education. They've ruined education. The government has ruined it in this country.
Well, my hero is Booker T. Washington.
So was his.
Yeah, well, he told African Americans, get educated. You can't be free without education. Form your own businesses. This country is about entrepreneurship. Have a strong faith in God and communicate with each other.
Harry, why do we need a black Chamber of Commerce? You're already on the board of the regular Chamber of Commerce, which is also a good friend of this show, and they sponsor our Daily Fix. But why do we need a black Chamber of Commerce?
I worked in Indianapolis for the state of Indiana as a deputy commissioner for minority business development. And what I saw, at the time Indianapolis had maybe 4,000 Hispanics, but they had a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which organized their businesses, and they had presence in the mayor's office and the governor's office, CEOs. They were doing well to represent themselves and to get their businesses entrenched into the private and public sectors. Indianapolis had 230,000 blacks and had no business organization. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I came up with the idea of having a black Chamber of Commerce to put our issues front and forward. But your issues are business issues. I just think we got to get away from the black this, the Latino that, the Pacific Islander this, the women's that. I mean, we're all in this. We're all in this struggling. Well, I mean, right? I mean, at this point. Well, you got the Italian Business League. You got the Pan-Atlantic Business League.
I didn't even know about the Italians. You're kidding.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, where have I been? I missed the Italian. I'm Polish, so I missed all that.
My guy in Atlanta was catching hell when he was starting his chamber in Atlanta. And he got the Yellow Pages and did a press conference and read off all of these ethnic business associations in Atlanta from the Yellow Pages. And he said, well, why can't we have a black one? What's wrong with that?
I guess, we have one. It's just Obama doesn't recognize it. Oh, I bet you're not going to be invited to the next state dinner, Harry. That's my view. You're not going. You're not going anywhere. Do you think that Trump? Did you see Al Sharpton hinting that Trump was racist for telling Obama to stop goofing around and doing all these things like playing basketball and start focusing on the economy? Do you think that was racist of Trump?
Don't listen to Al Sharpton. He's Obama's puppet. Obama gave his organization $1 million. He owns him to fight off Jesse Jackson and anybody else who might have an analysis of Obama's track record. Sharpton is his flunky.
No, I'm not a big fan. Let's go to Ted, Austin, Texas. You're on with our friend Harry Alford. Ted, go ahead.
Good morning, Laura. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yes, the point that I wanted to make is this is something that's quite typical of being an African-American. But what I see now is that most African-Americans are starting to make this an open discussion that we are opposed to a lot of his rules and regulations and also to his agenda.
Until now, I guess people aren't speaking out. And Harry, I also add to that what Ted just said. Michelle Obama seems to be quite political. Now they're telling food manufacturers, which I'm sure a lot of them are supporters of yours and involved in the chamber, your chamber and the U.S. chamber. Now they're telling them that they can't advertise in certain ways to kids for food products.
It's starting to get Marxist, isn't it? The free market isn't going to be free much longer unless we do something about it in 2012.
That's all right. Michelle, I guess they're saying it's all voluntary, but now the businesses are saying they're implicit threats that if they don't go along with these new rules, that the FTC or the Food and Drug Administration is going to come after them. Do you think there's anything to that?
This group is fanatical. I mean, they might as well put on the brown shirts and the swastikas. They are that fanatical. I'm fearing for my nation, fearing for the land of my birth.